This is Joshua Hop, JTH Boxing. Today I'm here in Sheffield and I'm joined by Sonny Edwards yet again. Sonny, first of all, how are we doing today, my friend?
Yeah, doing good, just down here for the public workout. Nico's just been out the ring and Junaid's just in it now. Two of the Still City lads fighting on the Sheffield show this week, so yeah, here to support my own and also look forward to a big main event as well. I'm looking forward to Wood and Warrington, I'll be real.
Let's talk about the main event first then. Lee Wood versus Josh Warrington. It's a fight that if you spoke about this fight, let's say 3 years ago, you would have never thought these two would have clashed, but here we are. You never know how boxing works. They collide on Saturday night in a monster main event. How do you see that fight going?
You know, it's a funny one really because, yeah, like if you mentioned the fight 3 years ago, everyone's probably heavily favouring Warrington and not really giving Lee much of a chance. And now it's probably on the other side. I think more people are backing Lee Wood, and probably rightfully so, with maybe form, mutual opposition, but I think Sean said it in the build-up, that Lara that was in for the second fight of Wood probably wasn't the same Lara that was in the ring for the other 3 fights with both fighters, so I think it'll be very interesting. You can't write Warrington off. I think on his ascendancy to world glory and defending it 3-4 times, he was written off about 3 times in a row against all British well-known fighters, so I think he's got a very good style when it comes to fighting other British fighters. He's usually much tougher than they are. He's got a bigger work rate. It's usually, you know, the international or the Mexican sort of fighters that style comes unstuck with. So I think it's an interesting clash of styles. I probably do favour just with Wood, but I think Warrington's got every bit of chance to really make it a rough, dirty fight and you know, make it his fight. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's going to be a great atmosphere. I think they're predicting the show to be fully sold out by fight night. I know there's not many tickets left. I was sorting out mine and my groups yesterday, so yeah, I think it's going to be, the Sheffield Arena is going to be buzzing. It's going to be a great event.
Obviously, we'll talk about Junaid and Nico as well. We'll start off with Junaid. It's another step up for him. He's facing a Scottish champion, a very tough, a very solid fighter. How's training camp gone for Junaid? Obviously, you're with him day in, day out. How's it going?
Oh, he's the main man coming in now. Yeah, Junaid's actually been out with me in Tenerife as part of my, you know, pre-season training camp. So he's had a really good start, finish to camp. He's been flying in the gym, sparring really hard rounds, and just growing in confidence. Really, I feel like with Junaid, his ambition is probably going to be something you need to put a lid on, just because at such a young age, he's really in his mind ready for all the big fights and just keep pushing on and pushing on. But it's about matching him at the right time and taking it bit by bit. I think this is another good step in the right direction. I'd be surprised if this wasn't a clear dominant display on Saturday, I'll be real. And then I think it's about looking at, you know, some interesting fights for him to really get his mind into. I feel like with such a young fighter, you don't want them to start getting stagnant and, you know, not really being mentally switched on too much. I feel like he's the heavy favourite in this fight, and probably rightfully so. But at the same time, he's been matched at a decent pace for someone that's so young and with as few fights. So, yeah, growing in confidence, and us as a team, we're really confident in Junaid. I've said publicly many times before, he's probably the most talented fighter in the gym, and has been since a young age. The things he does effortlessly, he's often, you know, especially growing up, done things so wrong before getting in the ring that his successes was kind of mind-blowing. Now he's doing things outside the ring right. He's hitting new levels, new bits of fitness, new emotional maturity, and yeah, like I said, I think Junaid will probably be the one that ends up having, you know, the brightest career of all the lads in the gym, I'll be real.
Obviously with Junaid, I understand that he is very young, and obviously I just want to get your thought. When would you like to see Junaid start pushing on 4 titles? Obviously, like I said, there's no major rush for him with him being so young, but obviously he's got the skills. It's very clear he's got the skills. He's also got the charisma. You know, it's not going to be long until he's capturing the British public's hearts, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like once you've been 5 years as a pro, it's time to start going. So he's still got a couple of years left until he's sort of, you know, open class, take anyone that comes. For me, he needs to go through the rounds. He needs to learn, you know, controlling it for 12 rounds, not just 6 or 8 rounds, what he's used to performing in. I'll be real, he gets in the ring with very good fighters in sparring since a young age, and for those amount of rounds, he's got a very high skill cap, very, very high. But, you know, sometimes you see the later the rounds, that's when, but as a young fighter, that's expected. So, you know, where he's at right now is phenomenal. Yeah, maybe 2 years, and I think he'll pretty much be ready for as good as they get, really. He's that good of a talent. Just a bit more maturity, a few more of the rounds, and the right matches as well. Not just easy, not just wins, not just knockouts. Some proper box ticking exercises. The first southpaw, the tough one, the big puncher, the awkward one, the back foot one. Just a few boxes ticked. Maybe getting a cut, maybe having to deal with an injury during the fight, before you get to the serious threat, and then he'll be ready to go. And I think he'll be around for a long time. He's like me, he's never had anything other than boxing, and that's all he wants to do. So great prospect.
I want to turn the attention to Nico as well. So he's on the undercard as well. Sometimes he's been struck with a bit of bad luck. Obviously he's been scheduled to fight on Leewood undercards before and had to pull out through injury, but he's here, he's finally on a Leewood undercard, and it's another good step up from his. It's another step in the right direction, this fight.
Yeah, and it can be frustrating, but that's the life of a young professional athlete. Injuries can happen at any time. He got cut, or his opponent got cut, I can't remember now, and the fight was a draw in the second round. So little stops and the starts, but as long as you're still progressing, improving, eventually the fight's going to get made. It's going to be a big fight. Everyone's going to get excited, and if you win it, you walk through the doors. So everyone's career is usually the same and goes around the same way. So sometimes you have to be a little bit more patient, but you play the hard you're dealt, and that's it. I think he's a very patient lad, and he's very hard working. So even when he's had time out, he's probably maximised the potential of what he was doing at that time. So yeah, I think Nico's got a bright future. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have too many more stalls, because no one wants to be sitting around a bench for no period of time for no reason. But yeah, another one that we're really looking forward to, and a fight that I'll be real, Grant Smith is really big on. He's one of his charges that he's had from his first fight, and was working with him coming out of the amateurs. So yeah, one that Grant Smith and the Steel City Gym are strongly behind.
Let's quickly cast our minds back to the weekend. Obviously, first of all talk about Opetaia versus Thompson. First of all, let's talk about Opetaia's performance. He was very, very good in there, wasn't he? There was a clear skill gap between him and Jordan Thompson.
Yeah, and I think it's, when someone hasn't had the most amateur experience and they come up against arguably the best fighter at the weight in the world, sometimes there's a clear level gap. And I think, unfortunately for Jordan, you could kind of see it. I don't think he was reacting great to the shots that was coming forward. I felt like he wasn't prioritising the right things. I feel like he would have had more success, coming away from Opetaia. And when Opetaia was in front of him, letting the right hand go, I feel like there was often openings, but he weren't really believing in himself, and then he was sort of looking for the shots when Opetaia was completely ready to engage with him. For me, he was picking the wrong moments to throw, and that's just experience, that's just levels. I feel like he gave it his best go, and even when it was hard up against him, he showed that he's got heart, determination. He didn't look for no way out, or sometimes just the better man's in there, and he would have learned probably more from that night than the rest of his boxing career put together. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Hard lines for Jordan, because someone that I genuinely do like, but boxing is boxing, and sometimes there's just clear levels to see in there. But he'll come back. He's come a lot further than someone from his background in boxing usually ever goes. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what he does next, and I think he'll open up his career a little bit more now. He lost his own now. He can find his level and just go in the entertaining fights. He's been exposed to a wider audience now, challenged for a world title. So yeah, I look forward to what's next for Jordan, I do.
Someone that you were very big on for the undercard was Chev Clark, and what a performance it was from him against a very tough Vasil Dukar. Never really seemed in trouble once. It was a very comfortable point for himself. How pleased were you with Chev there? So I remember you actually saying you always tell him just to relax in there, enjoy the rounds. He says, no, I'm not about that. But he relaxed, he got the rounds in. It was just a very good overall performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, because sometimes they're tough enough that no matter how hard you punch, you can't just punch holes in them, and it's getting rid of your pride and ego to allow that. I feel like Chev did it in a very mature way, and he broke him down. I feel like he was in control pretty much the whole fight. Yeah, there was probably moments in some of the middle rounds where, now Duke has started really coming to try and use his energy, but he didn't really gain much. He didn't really get too much success. He caught Chev with a few shots, but Chev isn't the most reactive or getting out of the way of the shots. He'll kind of just stand there and fight back with you. So yeah, I don't think there was ever a moment in there that Chev was struggling, and I think he looked very explosive, he looked powerful, he looked aggressive, he looked exciting. I don't think there was anything wrong with that performance, to be honest. He was just in there against a very tough man that is hard to break down, and at times it did look like he was getting to him, but Duke could kind of just hold his feet and throw his back with you. So yeah, I thought it was a great fight, and for where he is and how many rounds he's done, etc., he's outperforming at an earlier rate fighters that have gone on to win world titles and challenge for world titles. So I think he's in a great place.
And finally, I want to just quickly talk about the fight that we saw overnight on Saturday night, Canelo versus Canelo Charlo. What did you make of that fight, first of all?
I'll be real, I haven't fully watched it. I've watched some highlights. I saw the sort of narrative that Charlo kind of backpedaled and, you know, was like all right being a comfortable loser rather than, you know, going out on his shield. But, you know, it is what it is. Canelo's a very, very good fighter. He is control of the range, the distance, the tempo. He can force people to throw and aggressively break them down. Yeah, he's a very good fighter and a very hard ask for anyone at any whatever weight he decides to fall at. So, yeah, Charlo wasn't the guy to beat him, and I guess it's who's next, you know what I mean, with Canelo.
So I'm going to let you go now. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm sure we'll speak again very, very soon.
Go on, Josh. Good to see you.
Thank you much, man. Thank you very much.